Winter is very much still here. Very much still here. Absolutely peeing rain still. Man, the river's going to be hooped forever. Oh well. Still fortunate to be alive, right? Fortunate to be able to still be here and still do this. Now, lots of voices to be heard. I think I got a big long email here fresh out of the pan. I'll get that into that in a second. I was going to mention again, in case you missed it earlier, the fishing. Apologies to everyone who has been a little concerned not getting their emails replied to yet, but we just haven't been able to give a solid answer on whether or not the fishing was going through this summer, but it is, so Sarah's on it. And I got her a new laptop for her birthday. So she's been struggling for a while with her other one. And anyone who ordered her toques, her hats, her t-shirts, she'll be shipping those the next day. What else? And we are going to resume feeding those little rascals running around hungry because of our corrupt Canadian regime. So we'll be doing that right away too. It's always busy here though, right? It's always busy. And you know why it's busy? It's busy because we give a shit. People that care about shit are usually quite busy individuals. So there you go. We as a group will be feeding those kids again. I think we're going day after tomorrow to load up. It's fun. It's a good thing to do. There's a lot of work too, right? It's a lot of work. Anyway, no more babbling. Book it at howtohunt.com is where you can get your fishing. Oh, that's another thing I was going to share. I guess the Starlink changed how its satellite dishes work. Because originally, before, if you get the one that I have, it has to remain stationary one spot to work. And then you had to pay additional $100-something bucks or whatever, allegedly, for the mobile one to work. If you wanted to have it on a ship or a sailboat or something like that. Allegedly, who knows? Maybe they all work the same before anyways. But apparently right now it's all the same cost, and the dish will transmit smoothly as you move. So guess what I'm going to do this summer? For many of you who possibly wanted to go fishing, but couldn't, or maybe you're an angling freak and you like to watch that shit, I am going to stream the whole stern of my boat live on YouTube each day I fish. Well, some days, most days. How freaking cool is that going to be? And then, especially if I have guests on here that don't mind, and we're going to be, obviously, if a lot of people who booked to come fishing with me through here, we're going to be talking about things that we know, things that we've seen, and I think that'll be really exciting. So I'll check out the comment section today, and I'll try not to reply to any dickheads that might be there, and let me know what you think about that, about me streaming live during the day. From the second we leave the dock until the end of the day, I will stream it. I think that'll be absolutely awesome, especially for people who might not possibly ever make it to my part of the world and get to see everything firsthand and see how it goes. That'd be great. I think I'm totally excited to do that. There you go. Enough of the babble. Let's get into the people. I got the heater going over there. I'm not going to turn it off. I left it off all night by accident. Okay, here we go. This is a long one. Back up to the top, here we go. Mark this as red. Fresh out of the box. Solid Sasquatch / demonic connection is the title of this email. Steve, I appreciate and respect your work, and I know you're busy, so I'll get right to it. This email isn't for reading on your podcast. It's for your edification as you strive to put things together. Oh, man. All right. Well, I guess I can't read that one. So, well, I'll read it later on, and then I guess if it leads me to some valuable open doors for me to open up and learn more, then whatever I find after I read it, if there's something there for me to find, I'll come back and share it with you guys, all right? And there you go. I read exactly... we read together for the first time everything that's in here, obviously, all right? We're just sitting around the same coffee table together. So, moving along. Who do we got next? I haven't read that. Obviously, I'll read it when I'm done here. First Encounter at 13 is the title of this email. Hello, Steve. My name is Ashley, and I'm from the eastern coast of North Carolina. I've listened to your channel for many years now. You're making me sound old. I'm kidding. I used to watch YouTube videos at night before falling asleep. I stumbled upon one of your first videos after letting YouTube play on my phone as I fell asleep. When I woke up a few hours later, you were on my phone ranting about something or another. Me? I immediately tuned in like I was listening to my dad rant. But I instantly liked your response and attitude toward like and the people. I think you meant toward life and the people. So I started watching. During that time, I didn't watch any cryptic videos or anything of the sort. I'm a realist, and was beyond naive to the world around me. I should honestly start by saying I'm only 30 years old, and I'm not a hunter or woodsy person. I never would have ever put two and two together had it not been for your channel. So here goes my story. Wow, what an interesting opening. I was 13 years old. I had just moved to the East Coast from Oklahoma. This was 2008. Maybe October or November because we moved here in January. I was a delinquent teenager. I smoked cigarettes and gardened. I immediately made friends with the bad rebel kids in my grade at the new school. The night of my encounter, I was actually sneaking out after 10 p.m. I'm not sure exactly what time it was. All I know is my mom was asleep already. To go garden with my friend. My neighborhood was pitch black, and if I had a cell phone, it certainly didn't have a flashlight on it. It was most likely one of the brick Nokia phones, because my mom refused to keep up with the trending consumption of junk. Anyway, I left my home and went around the curve. My friend was supposed to meet me halfway, as there was a veterans park in the middle. There's one lone streetlight at the entrance of the park, and I remember feeling like there was something around me, but also kept excusing the feeling I had because it was just normal kid fears of the dark. As I'm about 300 feet away from the park entrance, I remember looking up from the ground to the park, and that's when I see it. At first, all I can see is the shadow or outline of a body. My first thought is, thank goodness my friend is there already and I didn't have to wait for him like I normally did. But the dark shadow wasn't walking to the entrance. It's walking from the entrance. So I immediately stop and watch. My eyes probably were not even adjusted to the dark until right around those moments of trying to see who was ever there. Now this was only a few seconds, maybe 10 seconds at most. Something on two legs and a big upper body walked in 4 steps at most from the entrance of the park to the woods on the right of the entrance. Right before he stepped off the road is when I realized that's not my friend, and that's not a man. I honestly thought it was a bear, and I immediately turned around and ran as fast as I could home. I didn't even go the same route home. I skipped the road and the curve and ran straight through the neighbor's yard to my backyard and immediately ran inside my home like I was being chased. That's how I felt. I felt like a huge bear was chasing me. My heart just thumping out of my chest, and I was petrified that I almost died. I, of course, immediately called my friend, but I was too scared and embarrassed to tell them what had just happened. So I lied and told them my mom got up and caught me trying to leave, and now she won't let me go. My friend offered to walk to my home, but I was too shaken up to see anyone. I just wanted to be alone because I felt so foolish for walking alone in the middle of the night. Now fast forward to my 20s and living the story above about me finding your channel. I started watching and hearing people's crazy encounters with these things, and not only did I have a huge epiphany of that encounter, but I also remember the earliest memory I have. When I was around 4 years old, living in Gates County, North Carolina, we were the only home in that cut, surrounded by the Great Dismal Swamp. I remember playing outside. My dad was on the grill cooking chicken or steak or whatever it was, so he was coming in and out of the home. Dog was on his 60-foot chain outside with me, and all I remember is my dog started barking like crazy. I remember looking over in the direction he was now barking and growling at. And I remember my dad rushing outside the home to see what the dog was barking at. And I remembered this surreal feeling. The best way to describe it is noise-canceling headphones, when you can hear the background sounds, but very faint. And also kind of like my ear volume was being canceled out slowly. Like slowly during down the radio or something of the sort. I looked up and saw it. Something. Bear standing up at the tree line just looking at the dog, I think. And my dad yanked me up and placed me on the step and said, "Ashley, go inside." I remember him having a shotgun pointed to the sky. That's my earliest memory I have of my childhood. I really would love to do some hypnosis therapy to see if I remember anything else of my childhood, because I know they are in that dismal swamp. But that's my 2 encounters. One thing I've wondered since remembering the first encounter at age 3, is if the Sabe was doing something around me for the sound to go out like that. I'm not sure. I can't tell if that is just how I'm remembering it, since I was so young, or if that was really what happened. And the sound really did get drowned out. Anyway, thank you, Steve, for sharing the people's stories. I love what you do. I support it. I buy merch and stickers and anything else I can. Every drop. That's great. I'll tell Sarah. Appreciate that. I also want to say that I do agree with Scott Carpenter's work. I know it sounds silly, but he is spot on. I also wanted to mention that you spoke of Steven Spielberg saying, "What if the aliens are us from the future?" That's a big possibility. These mountains of information on that topic on the internet from plenty of reputable sources. Please look into it. Anyways, thanks, Steve, for your time, and I know this is a book. Hope you and Sarah and the family and fur babies are doing great and having a great start to the 2025 years. All right. Ashley, absolutely appreciate you and that friendly, kind, and honest email. This place is nothing without people like you, all right? Now, you asked me a question there, I think. A question, but you made the mention of the... You didn't ask me a question, but you made mention of going for hypnosis. And we have another follower here who is actually a member of a very, very popular rock band. One that I will guarantee you 100% of you know who the band is. Anyway, this one particular individual from that band, we've emailed each other back and forth quite a few times actually over the past few years. And he emailed me to tell me that he was in Boy Scouts in a tent with the rain fly off, so you get the screen on the top, and he said he looked up and he saw this massive, hairy being's face stooped over, looking down on him in the tent. And he told me that he wants to go to to hypnotherapy. No, I think I may have suggested he go to hypnotherapy. Or maybe he did, I don't know. Either way. He intends on going to hypnotherapy as well to relive that moment and figure out what the hell actually went down, if there's anything else he may be missing. So there you go. You're not alone in that one. I'm just saying. It's a very handy tool, I believe. I tried to get hypnotized one time. One of those deals at a bar one night, or a pub, whatever we were all at, and they had a special night where the hypnotist was there, and they selected 13 of us to go on the stage. I was one of them. It just couldn't happen. I didn't feel nothing. I did not get hypnotized. I didn't even come close, so I was chosen to walk off the stage. But good luck. I hope you do it. And if you do, good luck. And make sure you think about us after. Try and share with us what you come up with, okay? Because that information, if you go take that step and do that and share how it went, what you did, what went down, that's going to possibly help a lot of people here as well, okay? And give them a little kick in the pants to go do it too. Keep us posted. Appreciate you big time. What do we got here? Oops. Hold on a minute. Okay, I almost skipped by this by accident. Recent story sounded familiar to one of my experiences is the title of this email. Hey Steve, hope you and the family are well. Your story on March 22nd, 2025. Oh, this is was a person talking of hearing flute music and hearing a hey. I never thought of telling you this story as I try to focus on the Sabe sightings. And this is not a Sabe sighting, but something else. I live in the middle of nowhere, as we discussed, and I tend to sit outside and relax. This is 2 summers ago. And no, I didn't have my phone on me, before anyone asks. I was just outside my back door. We hear flute music off and on. Always thought it was a neighbor, and we never put much thought to it. Well, I had heard something. I'd been outside maybe 45 minutes listening to the tree frogs. I love the music. Nature is such a gift and miracle. Well, something caught my eye, and there was a white goat. I thought nothing of it except that someone's goat escaped, and it was there next to where we have my dad's ashes, and it stood up. I was flabbergasted. I heard, hey, bracket. No, I'm not sure if mental or out loud, end bracket, and it waved with one hand. It had 3 fingers and a thumb only on that hand, and it turned around and walked back into the woods. This thing looked like a mostly hairless goat and was white. I've seen it once since then, but it was deep in the woods. Steve, I was stunned. I couldn't move, talk, or think. The wife came out and caught sight of him as he left. We talked, and she said, well, goatmen have been seen for a very long time. Remember the stories of the god Pan and his satyr? Since then, we have taken to leaving pipe tobacco and native tobacco at our offering rock. It is always gone, Steve. It never lasts a whole night. We did not feel threatened nor uncomfortable, just caught off guard. It would not surprise me to see a Sabe there, but I would have never thought for 1 second I would see a goatman. I can still see him in my mind exactly like he was. I have memory issues, Steve, and at times they're pretty bad, but I can remember this like it just happened. It lit a fire under me, and I dug through the internet looking for goatman sightings after. I did not realize there were so many. It doesn't fit any of my puzzle, but maybe it can someone else's, and I hope you're all well, Oklahoma dude. That's a holy shit one for me, right? What would I do? I can't even imagine what my reaction would be if I seen something like that today in the woods. It would definitely get my attention. I would definitely be going, huh? And if something like that could wave at me, possibly in a friendly manner, then that would mean it possibly could communicate with me somehow too. I might possibly yell out to it or speak out to it, but I would be absolutely floored, like anybody else would be. But we have had numerous people. Remember a while back, we had a few people emailing in about somebody with goat's legs or goat's feet, like a human, full-on frickin' human being with goat's feet. I think they were hitchhiking or something, jumped in the vehicle, and they looked down and noticed that or something. That comes to memory. And I wonder how many other people on the planet possibly seen the same thing, and they're like, I'm not saying shit about this. There's no way I really saw that. Right? If there is, if you're out there, this is a safe place for you to come forward, all right? Just to let you know. Because that's one hell of a thing to harbor inside of you if that's what you truly saw. And if it is, you want to get it off your chest, go ahead and do it here, all right? I'm just saying. It's a safe place, okay? We all, for the most part, understand that there is a lot of shit going on that we just don't have a clue about. But we're starting to clue in. All right? Appreciate you, man. Appreciate that email. Be careful out there, dude. Just be careful, right? Who else? What else do we got? These are all from the recents, I think. Did I cheat and do 2 recent days in a row, maybe? I'm not supposed to do that. Sasquatch and the Orb. A ball of light. Steve, I thought I sent this drawing or artwork I recall over the years. You've read a few encounters with a Sasquatch and an orb. One just more recently, I believe. Another one a few years back. A child actually sat with a Sasquatch, and it held a glowing, floating ball in its hand. I remember the Sasquatch asked the child, does he know how it works? I wish I could find that episode. Thanks for all you do, Steve. Mike Matroni, York, PA. And there it is. That's quite the drawing. That's a drawing made up of a whole bunch of patterns put into a picture. Thanks for that, man. All right, here's another one. Bigfoot print, North Skagit Valley, Washington. Good afternoon, Steve. I've always been a big supporter of this group and stories. I recently went to a place called Sasquatch Subs in Stanwood, Washington. It reminded me of a photo I took in 2023 in the Mount Baker Wilderness. I do a bunch of alpine fishing and post it to YouTube under Unjarred Outdoors. While on a trip into a high lake I was at the day before, I noticed extremely large footprints walking side by side of mine. Here I'll post a photo showing my foot to the right, wearing La Sportiva boots, and the left print being a natural print 3 times the size of my foot. The footprint is one-way direction. Try zooming in and seeing the formation of the toes and the heel print. Thanks, Steve. Have a wonderful day. Tyler Nash. There you go. There's another one. And I'm not meaning another email either. I'm just saying there's another one. You can see his... Oh, look. You can see the mid-tarsal break. They were right about one thing. Awesome. Crazy. All right, let me save that so to make sure that I put it in the video for you guys to see. Keep us posted, man. Be safe out there. You know what's running around out there watching you, so hope you've learned a lot from the people here to deal with whatever may possibly come up in your future and all of ours. Who's next? Okay, I skipped over to the patiently waiting column. And this email is titled Massacre. This is a more detailed account of our short story about an incident that happened 19 years ago. I'd sent the first draft by mistake. Thanks for your YouTube channel and the joining together of people. I want to offer some support and appreciation for you being a voice of integrity and truth. I might add, I sense a compelling sense of love, compassion, and empathy. Thank you for the kind words. My name is Michelle Blocher. I'm 65 years old, retired police officer, and public servant. Didn't we read her latest one? This might have been... Okay, I'm going to carry on, sorry. I'm 65 years old, retired police officer, and public servant. I live in Eastern Oregon near the Walla Walla Mountains. I share this with you so you know I'm not throwing any patronizing bullshit at you. I was raised in Portland, Oregon, very poor, and grew up what some have termed city feral or wild. Developed and got in touch with what you have called instinct or sixth sense very early. I will add that the sixth sense has saved my life literally more times than I can count. My story starts in the spring of 2001. My partner Tim and I, 2 border collies, set a base camp at Doug Bar on the Snake River. It is a 3-hour drive from home, most of which is on a primitive 1-lane dirt road. We set out from there to investigate and photograph old pictographs at the site of a Chinese massacre in the 1800s. Wow. The site is located at the conveyance of Deep Creek in the Snake River. Not sure how much history I should share regarding the massacre, so I won't unless you request. My partner is a veteran, and our 2 dogs were border collies. Not working cattle dogs, but no wild things. And I am of Ojibwe/Swede/mixed descent. Both my partner and I are avid outdoors people and do not scare easily. The trail is rough from base camp to where we wanted to go, approximately 3 miles of bushwhacking along the Snake River's edge, acknowledging of the remnants of 9,000-year sustained Nez Perce homelands from years ago along the trail. The trail is pretty rough, and we arrived at the site we wanted to go in the early afternoon. To share, I was given protected information that in the area of the Deep Creek Massacre site was an archaeological site that had been ransacked and devastated. We wanted to document that site also. Upon arrival, we set up a small tent on a knoll by the edge of the Snake River and Deep Creek. We photographed the pictographs and explored about the area. Evening came soon, as the canyon is rather deep. We settled in the small tent with two 50-pound dogs and two adults. We had traveled with light packs and were both carrying handguns. Our large mistake on the trip was forgetting our large flashlights. We only had two tiny flashlights. At the early hours of about 2 to 3 a.m., there were a sequence of 3 oboe-like tones, then silence. In another hour or so, it happened again, and then in about another hour, it happened again for the last time for a total of 3 segments. This is very similar to another account you had previously read from someone else, which is what caught my attention for my story. We both drew our weapons. The dogs were tense on alert, with noses next to the door of the tent, no barks, unusual. The air was clear of any other sound. And during the second sequence of the sound, Zora, my dog, crept along my side and lay flat and silent at our heads. There's been times when out hiking when the usual would be for Hobbs to lead, then Zora, then Tim and I, or just one of us. When they sensed danger, they would both immediately fall behind the last person on the trail. That includes rattlesnakes and unseen threats. Hobbs' dog had his nose beneath the bottom portion of the zipper on the tent. He made a low, deep growl, then let out a sharp bark. This was completely out of the normal for him. In the span of his 15 years of life, I don't recall him growling ever. And of course, there was no sleep. Neither of us spoke during the event, but exchanged telling looks and gestures, shallow breathing. At daybreak, we broke camp and got the frick out of there. Hiked back to our base camp, broke camp, and headed home. Upon arriving home, I listened to all my bird calls I had on CDs from Stokes. I talked to my other bird/animal knowledgeable friends, and nothing matched what we had heard at Deep Creek. The area has its share of deer, elk, snakes, cougar, bobcats, bear, and all other wildlife that inhabit remote area. A few months later, I was at an outing with several Nez Perce elder women. I shared my story with them, and they asked me if I felt fear. I told them I did. After a few minutes of discussion between themselves, the elders told me it was a good idea. It was good I did not go to investigate because I would not have never come back. Because I would have never come back and would have lost my soul. They described the beings that sent the sounds as, quote, stick people, end quote. I never went back to that area, and please feel free to share our story. Feel free to contact me if you want, and again, thank you very much. Be safe, well, and happy. Sincerely, Michelle Blocher. Well, if I've read that before, I don't remember reading that one. But tell you what, you guys, are the Aboriginal elders of every continent, and that's not saying what color or race, because we all have our Aboriginal elders on each continent somewhere. They all speak the same, they all seem to have the same messages to us, don't you think? I don't think we've come across an elder from anywhere that hasn't shared with the people to avoid, don't go near them, don't go towards the whistles, don't go in the forest when there's cries of help, don't look them in the eye, don't talk to them. It's bad. And I know there's going to be a bunch of you out there right now who allegedly, possibly, and probably have what you have called nothing but love. Warm, loving friendships with these beings. I get it. I'm not insulting you. I'm just replaying what, to date, 100% of our elders have passed down to us. What do you guys think of that? And you know what I mean? And I'll guarantee you, for me, I don't preach to anyone, but for me, I am listening to the elders 150% way before I'm listening to anyone in any man-made building, classroom, university, school. Ain't happening. I'm listening to what elders we have left. Intently. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? You know what I mean? When it comes to listening to elders and the warnings they're heeding on us about when it comes to this topic. Appreciate that email big time. Who's next? Oops. What's this? Mark this as read. Hopefully I've read it before. We'll see. My name is Tess Wesolowski. I'm 27 years old and I grew up just outside of Detroit, Michigan. Well, needless to say, I got out of there and I moved out west, where I became a wrangler/packer. I found my passion in life and I look forward to one day becoming a hunting guide. I worked in Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming. I love being in the backcountry and I've spent the last 3 hunting seasons working for different outfitters. Yes, that means I'm surrounded by a bunch of guys for weeks on end and I'm typically the only female at camp. Oh no. Being 5'5" and weighing 120 pounds has been a tough but rewarding experience to be able to hold my own out there, whether it's with the mule string, shooting the shit with the guys at night, or packing out elk alone. Wow, good for you. You're a tough cookie. Here's my story. In the fall of 2018, I was designated camp cook for a hunting outfit in the Frank Church Wilderness. Quote, river of no return, end quote, in Idaho. It was pre-season and we were all busy setting up camp for the upcoming hunts. We had about 15 mules staged at the trailhead for about 6 days as we were making daily 3-hour trips back and forth from the trailhead to where we were setting up our camp for the season. A little background on our location. From the nearest 2-lane highway, you turned down a dirt road and drove that for 4 hours until you reached the main log cabin. From there, it was an hour ATV ride up a sketchy logging road to get to the trailhead where our mules were. Back to the story. It was probably around the 6th day, and we had the day off before hunters arrived the next morning. One of the guides and myself drove the ATV up to the trailhead to feed/water the stock. After we had finished our chores there, we decided to follow the logging road up a little ways, just to check it out. We stopped and decided to sit down and enjoy a sunny spot. It was a steep forested hill on our left, and to our right was a canyon, like scree/rock field. I grew bored after a couple minutes and started playfully throwing some rocks down the canyon. After a few throws, the guide said very seriously that he had seen something move out in the open to behind a tree, and that his eyes were glued on it, and it's still behind the tree, unmoving. We were perplexed, and soon realized that if any elk, deer, or bear were spooked by the rock throwing, they would have taken off, not just hid behind a tree. Right? That's the creepy part for us hunters. When something hides behind the tree and stays there. Both of our eyes were glued to the spot when we heard a very strange, loud, and high-pitched tone go off directly behind us. It was a short ting, so to speak, and made both of our heads turn towards the sound and look to see what the heck made that noise. The best way I can describe the noise is that it had the tone of two dog tags clinking together, but very loud, just once. Another example would be a higher-pitched hit on the xylophone. After not seeing anything up the hill, we both just looked at each other and decided to nonchalantly walk back to the trailhead in complete silence. It was upon arriving back at the trailhead that we realized, what the F just happened? It was as if we were in a trance from the moment we heard the ting until we got back to the trailhead. We have since talked about it and think that there were multiple Sasquatch, and the one on the hill distracted us from the noise, and it worked. Yeah, no doubt. Without a doubt. I do have another thing I'd like to share with you and or anyone. I've attached a picture of a footprint. I saw this print hiking up a ridge near the ranch I was working at all summer. The ranch was just located south of Jackson, Wyoming. I'm honestly perplexed as to what or who made this print. The shape of the print doesn't really match any animal. I can think of, and the indentations of the print don't quite add up either. It almost looks as if it's been drawn. But that would be a hell of a coincidence, as it is not a hiking trail listed on any website. Just a nice ridge trail close to the ranch. I've asked locals who have lived and hunted in the area for their entire lives, and they all come up with a different silly answer. I did forget to put my hand next to the print for sizing, but I can tell you that it was the size of a small child's footprint, around the age of 7 or 8ish. Not your typical big footprint. I'm curious as to who or what you think made this print. We'll never know what actually did it, but an interesting find nonetheless. Thank you for everything you do, Steve. So many believe Sasquatch is a joke, and I'm excited for the day when the truth is finally revealed. Have a great hunting season. Hope you get that buck you've been after for so long. Have a great day, Tess. Wow. Well, I sure would like hearing back from you, Tess, see how you've been making out. And I don't have a photo attached to this email, and I'm getting kind of shy on time. Okay, give me a minute. Let me see. Oh, no. Hold on. Okay, I don't have an email. I got nothing here. Give me a minute. See what I can do. Okay, sadly, gonna have to pass on digging for that right now, and I'll tell you why. I forgot to tell you guys this one. Day before yesterday, I go to log into my frickin' email, and I usually go on to a place called Enom, sign in there, takes forever, and then boom, there's all the emails. Pro Guide 66, book it. What else is on there? Order it, I think. Share my story, tell my story is all on there. I can click in each one. Well, I went to get in my email the day before yesterday. Wouldn't let me sign in. Sorry. Wouldn't let me sign in. I'm like, huh? And then it said I was locked out for 30 minutes. I'm like, you sons of bitches, right? So then, the very next day I go to sign in. Wouldn't let me in. Now I'm like, my heart started racing. I'm like, oh my God. My email's been hacked by those dirty, filthy scumbags, right? And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is really, really, really bad. I'm thinking, holy shit, this is my domain name. This is everything. This is everything. Uh-oh, this is really bad. So then I phone the number. It's a 1-800 number. And then it says, oh, you can't actually talk to a human being on here. Then I had to hang up. And then I had to phone the States on a regular number and get put on hold with regular billing forever. And this guy who could barely speak English got on there and started telling me that it's been migrated somewhere else, this other business name. Then I hit frickin' 1,000 degrees between my ears. And I'm like, you what? Why wasn't I informed of this? Well, you should have got an email. I can't get in my email. Well, I don't know. Good luck, sir. Then he said, good luck, sir. And I'm like, good luck. It's going to be good luck to you guys with a lawyer pretty soon, but the sounds of shit. I'm either going to figure this out or I'm going to sue your asses off. Right? I'm pissed. Especially when you're that alarmed and somebody just says, well, there's nothing I can do. Good luck. So then I went to this other place that he said to sign into. Doesn't work. And he gave me a phone number, and I phoned him. Then a kind guy who spoke fluent English, thank God, he explained something. I don't know. The Enom thing got busted up, and the sales end went somewhere, and all the emails went the other. Anyway, took me through it. But now what I'm getting at is, when I go to sign into my email, I can't just sign in once. I have to sign into ProGuide66 email, and then I gotta log out, and then I gotta fill it all in again, even though I'm pressing remember, and then I have to sign in to share my story howtohunt.com, and then I gotta sign out, and then I gotta sign in the other one and sign out. I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, I'm not doing that right now. I'll blow a gasket if I do. But once I do go in there, possibly tomorrow, I'll put a note here to search for that photograph. All right, you guys? And I appreciate you big time for that email. And I'm really curious how your career is going too. If you're still here, let me know. Oh, look at this. This is a good one to have rediscovered. I'll mark this as look into. This is titled Years, an account documented. Hey Steve, you expressed an interest in documenting my years of accounts with the mountain people. Let's get it on video and get it done. I'm ready and interested, and my wife wants it documented, as do I. Born and raised in the 7 Devils in Hell's Canyon. We never know about next month or year. Let's get it done. I'm sure we'll get along, as well as some good hunting stories added in. Tracker AL. Tracker Alabama with a phone number. All right. I hope that phone number is still good. Sarah's going to be getting a hold of you. Right on. Who else? All right, I'm going to read one more. Hello, Steve. My name is Morgan, and I'm from Somerset, Pennsylvania. And about 10 years ago, I was at a friend's house with my wife and him and his wife. We were sitting outside on his porch, which overlooked a large swamp bottom thicket. He had 2 Rottweilers that were professionally trained guard dogs, taught not to be afraid of absolutely nothing. Once before, about a 400-pound black bear and cub wandered through his yard. The dogs and the bear both had a stare down, and it was almost like this massive bear was challenging the dogs. They went head to head with this massive bear and absolutely kicked its ass. They were insanely crazy dogs. Back to the night I was there. We were on the porch having a few beers, not drunk by any means. At about 10 at night, we heard a noise come from the woods. The only way I can describe it was a blood-curdling scream / howl / roar, like nothing any of us have ever heard before. We thought it had to have been a bear. My friend made a joke that no bear will ever come around again with his dogs there. At about that time, we looked over near the doghouses. Both Rottweilers were in their doghouse, cuddled together, trembling. And we could hear them whining from 50 yards away in the porch. I never heard that noise since. Anyways, thanks for all your amazing videos. I watch them daily. Stay safe. Morgan. There you go. And another one. Meaning, and a couple more Canine members of the club. Doesn't sound like they're too stoked to be members. That's forever going to be a mystery to me, you know, you guys? I want so badly just to have a dog be able to speak English. Like, just give me 30 minutes. That's it. If I could ever have a wish, let me talk to a dog, a rural British Columbia dog, just for 30 minutes. In English, fluent. Tell me what's up, you know? Tell me why dogs are so terrified of these warm, fuzzy, caring beings that are here to watch us and protect us in the forest. You know what I mean? One more. Unless I read it before. Hello, my name is Ken. I'm 56 years old, and I spend my summers camping on Cedar Mountain with my wife, the grandson, and whoever else likes to come with me. My experience happened in the summer of 2019 in the Mammoth Creek area of Cedar Mountain. I got up one morning early to build a fire and make coffee like I always do. I'm always the first one up. So I was getting ready to light the fire, and I heard knocking sounds coming from a direction where nobody camps. The closest campers were at least a mile away. I stopped what I was doing, looked up, and I didn't see anything. Scanned the tree line, there was nothing. And I kept hearing it for about 10 minutes. And I said to myself, I know it's you. Come over and get a cup of coffee if you want, just jokingly. Kama and the knocking sound stopped abruptly. Okay, the typo. Let me read that. Sorry. I hate it when I screw up a whole sentence. I know it's you. Come over and have a cup of coffee if you want, just jokingly. And the knocking sound stopped abruptly. I sat there and waited for the sound to start up again, but it never did. So, I went about the day doing with camp chores, cooking breakfast, chopping wood, and whatever else needed to be done. And later that afternoon, we were sitting around the fire talking, and all of a sudden, about 30 yards away in the tree line, an aspen tree just fell over. We could see in the tree line, and there was nothing over there to make it fall over. No wind or anyone over there messing around. And we all looked at each other like, what the hell? I know trees fall in the forest all the time, but why did that one tree right there by camp decide to fall over? Nothing else happened that summer. I decided to tell my story after hearing the story about the couple that was at Barker Reservoir, which is only about 50, 60 miles away from where we camp. I love what you're doing. I listen to your stories all the time. I started listening to your stories before you even started talking about Sasquatch. Keep up the great work. One day everyone will find out the truth. Oh, we're finding it out. We're finding it out. We got a lot of truths that are exposed. I don't think the cat's slipping out of the bag, meaning. That reminds me of our friend Nate Rudd. His first story was of that tree uprooted and basically slammed down not far from their tent, right in camp in the night. And he sent pictures of it with us too. And I think what else? They took off and they came back and there's a tree with the roots in the middle of the road right by camp with the dirt off of the roots piled up under the photo too. There you go. And then of course is that night where I've shared numerous times when I was elk hunting by myself, and I think, I don't know, maybe a dozen trees got knocked over around me that night. They do what they do. Anyway, there you go, you guys. I'll be back tomorrow. And every day after that, as long as I can. Keep getting all this shit shared. Get it in the open. Speak the truth. Fight back. Especially up here in Canada, Stan. I can't wait to go to the States to see all my friends. Can't wait. Anyway, I could babble on about a bunch of shit, but I'll bite my lip. I already loaded up a video. It's probably going to get me kicked off YouTube. I put a video on the How to Hunt channel just as a tester to see if that video get me knocked off. We'll find out. I also put it on Instagram. But anyway, I'll be back tomorrow.